My new boots came over the weekend, as did the plague. That's right, I once again have some sort of head cold, sinus infection nonsense going on. This is what I get for working with children in my day job. I like my day job a lot, but I am really, really sick to death of being sick. That's not really all that important except as an explanation for why I sound so crappy and why I had no energy for doing my makeup today, and so you got like foundation and eyebrows, and that's basically it. Because I did need to save a lot of my energy for this vlog. I didn't have a lot of energy to start with, so I didn't want to put a lot of time and energy into making myself beautiful. A few weeks back, I noticed that my boots, which I loved a great deal, were starting to come apart at the heel. The sole and the back of the heel were starting to separate. And they were still perfectly wearable, but they were obviously not going to be watertight or anything like that. And I had Glimmer Dark coming up, and I knew that I would be making some money at Glimmer Dark, and so I decided that I was going to set aside a good chunk of that money to buy a good pair of new boots. And I immediately thought of Doc Martens. They're sort of the classic goth punk boot. And I went to their website, and I realized that the reason I've never been super excited about Doc Martens is that they're ugly. They're ugly boots. I'm sorry, they are. Not every single one of them, some more than others, but the classic Doc Marten is just not that attractive. And as someone who's also into physical fitness, who is a personal trainer, I feel very firmly that you should do as much as possible in bare feet or things that are close to being in bare feet. We have thousands of years of evolution of not having arch support and cushioning and all of this nonsense in our shoes, and only a few centuries of shoes, and only really less than a century of what is now considered a traditional sports shoe with arch support and cushioning in the heel and all of that. So without getting into a lecture on why barefoot is better, I really only wear boots for the fashion of it. They're practical, much more so than, say, high heels or a number of other fashionable footwear, but mostly I wear them for the fashion. And as such, I really want to like them. I want them to be aesthetically pleasing to me. And Doc Martens just aren't. They have that hideous yellow stitching, they have that loop that comes up in the back that's also ugly. I don't appreciate them. So I went shopping. I looked around, got recommendations for high quality boots because I didn't want to spend, $100 to $300 on a pair of boots that was not going to stand up to day-to-day wear. I got a lot of good recommendations for good quality work boots, but the thing with work boots is that they are not necessarily fashionable. They're not pretty. They're not what I was looking for. I wanted something that was good and solid and was going to last forever and also look good. Got one recommendation for Fluvog, who make beautiful shoes. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the name of that company right. They make beautiful shoes, but the boots they had were not what I wanted. They had one pair that I really liked that were discontinued and no longer available in my size, and the rest of them weren't what I was looking for. I also looked at New Rock. The thing with New Rock boots is that they were sort of starting at $200 bottom line and going up from there, and I didn't love any of them. The toe came up at a really high angle on pretty much all of their boots, at least based on the pictures, and I don't like that. As I said, I want as close to a minimalist shoe as I can get in a boot, so I really want as flat a sole as possible and as wide a toe box as I can get so I can splay my toes. And New Rock was fashionable. I liked the look of them, but at $200, I also really wanted to love the boot, like from top to bottom. So I wound up going back to the Doc Marten website and going through all of their women's boots, and I finally did find a pair that I really liked. They were solid black, they didn't have that hideous yellow stitching, and they didn't have that weird loop in the back. Is that a bootstrap? I feel like it must be, but I don't know. The model of shoe is called the Amelita. I believe that's the pronunciation. I'll put the spelling down below somewhere. And they're nice. I mean, you can see that the base of the boot, the actual part my foot goes in, is basically the same as a traditional Doc Marten. The sole's the same. The only real difference here is that it's got black stitching instead of yellow, so it doesn't make the sole look as brownish, and you don't have hideous yellow dots all along the bottom of your shoe for no reason. It's a little bit taller than, well, not taller than some Docs, or some traditional Docs, but the top is a little bit different. It's a nice soft leather. I was really surprised by how soft it is. It is, however, still really stiff back here. So I need to break in these bad boys. I'm very excited about it. Also a little nervous. I'm gonna go soak these boots in warm water for about half an hour, which is what the internet tells me to do. And then I'm gonna walk around in them. And I'm really nervous about this process because these are leather boots. Yes, I know, I'm a bad vegetarian, we'll have that conversation later. These are leather boots. And submerging leather in water just sounds like such a bad idea and such a cruel thing to do to this beautiful, beautiful leather. But it's the right way to do it, and I have every intention of treating them with very nice leather oils and leather conditioners after I do this, because I really do want them to last forever. The whole point of getting these instead of another, $30 pair of random combat boots was that I want them to last a long, long time. But step one is breaking them in. So I'm gonna go put them in a warm water bath, and then I'll be back to actually do the breaking in, and we can talk about that together. And that is why I need to save my energy, because I need to walk for half an hour to an hour in these bad boys while they are wet. So there they are, soaking in a tub of warm water. I put the lid on because I had to fill it basically all the way to the top. You can see they're floating. The rubber soles are forcing them to float. The back heels of both are in the water, which seemed like the most important part to me. That seemed like the part that's most likely to give me blisters and rub me raw if I don't break it in properly. Now we wait for half an hour, and then I take a stupid walk. To be clear, this walk is a stupid idea because I am sick, and it's 55 degrees out, and it is stupid to walk around in wet shoes and wet socks in 55-degree weather when you are already sick. Not because this is the incorrect way to break in shoes. This is a good way to break in shoes quickly and efficiently. And that's what I need because my other shoes are falling apart. Alright, so I'm out for a walk. I'm in my soggy wet boots. When the website I was on specified soaking them in warm water, I assumed that was because it was better for this process in terms of how it would soften the leather, in terms of how bad it would be for the leather, etc. Now I think it might just be because it was way less unpleasant than putting my feet into cold, wet boots would have been. I've got on a reasonably thick pair of socks and some moleskin on the back of my heels where I expect blisters are the most likely, and I'm walking. I had forgotten how dull it is to walk around this neighborhood. I don't have my headphones with me, so I can't listen to any music. I am seriously considering walking back to the house and maybe grabbing my keys and getting in the car and going to a park or the mall or something, so that I have something more interesting to look at than the same houses I look at every time I've ever been on a run. Ever. About 10 minutes in, I just had to stop and retie both of them because, as should not be a surprise, they were getting looser, probably because the leather is stretching. This is really uncomfortable and my feet are wet and gross, and I'm kind of looking forward to going home. So the situation with my right boot versus my left boot is not really a surprise. I owned Doc Martens once in the past. Why did I own Doc Martens and get rid of them, you ask? Well, that is a story I will tell on Patreon. But I got caught in a downpour while I was wearing them one day, and by the time I got home, both of my heels were bloody, torn up messes, because that's what Doc Martens do to me. After that, the right boot was always fine, but the left boot continued to tear up my heels like nobody's business. So yeah, I expect the left boot's going to need a lot more breaking in and work than the right boot. I will keep working on it, even if that means wearing moleskins on my left heel for the next 6 months while they get working in. I am just about a half an hour in now, and I'm starting to feel a little bit of chafing on both ankles, even through the moleskin, which is either really impressive on the boots part, or really unimpressive on the moleskin's part. I'm not sure which. I ended up walking around my neighborhood for about half an hour, and then came back and got my keys. I went to the grocery store for another 15-20 minutes. As you can tell from the quality of this video and the lighting in this video, that less than an hour made a huge difference in the lighting, at least. But it also seemed to make a big difference in the shoes. The right shoe seems almost entirely broken in already. The left shoe's gonna need more work. But I knew that going in. I knew this wasn't going to be a one-day process, even if this is supposed to be the quick and dirty way of breaking in the shoes. I had the feeling that it was going to take more than, you know, a couple hours to break them in, even if I did break them in soaking wet. But I'm quite happy with them. I'm quite happy with how they performed. The moleskin did its job. My heels got a little bit tender. I definitely felt some friction there, but no bloody raw spots, no blisters, nothing like that. So I'm really happy with these boots. Really, really happy. And that is my boot breaking in vlog. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. And please also, if you are interested in alternative fairy tales, follow the link below and visit my Kickstarter page and back Tales Untold Volume 2.